Washington Redskins, an NFC divisional playoff encounter. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Vern Lundquist along with Dan Fouts. We have two teams entering this game today from opposite ends of the NFL spectrum. The Atlanta Falcons, who relish their reputation as renegades, against the Super Bowl favorite Redskins, who have a slightly more conservative image. They have played once before, Week 10 here. The Redskins won it 56-17. Now, Dan, how relevant is that game to this one?
Well, anytime you beat a team by 39 points, it's got to be relevant. Also, Mark Rypien had a huge day with 6 touchdown passes. But Rypien and the Redskins will be facing an entirely different Falcon team because 2 key members of that team didn't play in that game 7 weeks ago, Chris Miller and Deion Sanders. So the revenge-minded Falcons of Jerry Glanville, they think they got something for the Redskins today. The key today is which team handles this win better and which team gets off to the faster start.
We have been delegated with the dreaded 4-letter word, W-I-N-D. Second line on the graphic, 30 to 40 miles an hour. It's not all that cold. Rather pleasant, as a matter of fact, for early in January. Jerry Glanville dressed in black. Now, how significant about the choice. Atlanta did not want to come out and even take the coin toss. Atlanta has won the toss, and they will receive.
Glanville told us before the game he's got another psychological move here.
Middle return, guard cross. We'll take everyone, fellas. Middle return, guard cross. Make it work. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Glanville was hoping to lose the toss. In fact, he wanted to play defense to start this game so badly that he even considered not sending anybody out for the opening coin toss. The league told him if he did that, he'd be penalized 15 yards and forfeit the option at the beginning of the second half and, if in case, at the beginning of overtime. So Glanville sent out the entire team instead.
Joe Gibbs, his team finishes 14-2 in the regular season, but not really on a roll the last 5 games. They started 11-0, lost to Dallas here, and then lost to Philadelphia in the season finale, 24-22. In the meantime, the Atlanta Falcons 5-5 after the debacle here in Week 10. They won 5 of their last 6, including 2 wins in New Orleans, the last week, and Deion Sanders is entertaining the crowd early on. They're really uptight, aren't they?
The loosest group in the history of the National Football League, without a doubt.
Low Miller will kick off. The rain has increased, and so has the wind. It will be Deion Sanders. But not very far. Stephen Hobbs, 86. Chris Miller, he was a Duck, graduated from Oregon. He's used to the rain. Offensive line is nicked up. Mike Ken, Hoover, Dukes, Freilich, and Hinton. Each of them has a ding of some sort. Eric Pegram starts at running back, and the red gun will feature Risen and Haynes and Pritchard and George Thomas. Mike Ken had a superb game against Pat Swilling in New Orleans last weekend. From the 17, 1st and 10. On 1st down, Floyd Dixon makes the grab. And the tackle made by Kurt Gouveia, number 54. That's a gain of 11. Defensively, Man Williams playing in his first playoff game ever. Tim Johnson and Fred Stokes. Matt Millen has been made inactive for today's game, so it's Marshall, Gouveia, and Andre Collins. And in the secondary, watch for Darrell Green. He should be shadowing Michael Haynes most of the afternoon.
And Miller gets off to a good start, completing his first pass. He expects the Skins to play a lot of loose zone. He'll be throwing a lot of short passes to begin with.
26 touchdowns this year, right behind Rippon's 28 and Kelly's 33. Right side, caught by Risen. That's a gain across the 30 and out of bounds at the 31-yard line.
You talked about Chris Miller being a duck. Well, Vern, I got news for you. Once a duck, always a duck. And Chris played in Eugene, also in high school at Sheldon High School, where he played in a lot of wet and rainy days. The biggest problem in this type of atmosphere, though, is not the rain. It is the wind. This ball is an oblong thing with points on both ends. And once you let the ball get out of a tight spiral in this type of wind, you're in big trouble. Chris knows the most important thing is to throw normally, but try and keep it in a tight spiral.
2nd and 7. Risen starts in motion. They hand it off to the fullback, and that is Tracy Johnson. Jerry Glanville telling us last night we expect to see a lot of Tracy Johnson. Mike Rozier, by the way, is inactive. He's been hampered by a bad knee. Sparked the team in New Orleans last week. Couldn't practice all week. He is not playing today, and Tracy Johnson will see a lot of action. Glanville said he's like a tractor. He's very tough.
Not only that, that was only his 9th carry of the entire year, so Tracy Johnson has not handled the ball well. We'll see how he handles it in these conditions.
Pegram is back in now, and on 3rd down, Atlanta goes from the shotgun. They have scored on 9 of their opening drives in games this year. Into the flat, Risen. And that's a 1st down, Atlanta up at the 47. As a matter of fact, one of those scoring drives was here at RFK. Despite losing 56-17, they led 3-0 at one point.
Second reception now for Risen on the inside here, and crossing patterns for Andre Risen is where he is most effective. Working against A.J. Johnson here, just runs away from Johnson, and Miller has enough time to throw for the 2nd time, and he puts it right on the money.
Encouraging start for Atlanta?
Absolutely. Coming into this stadium where it's very loud but also windy, the wind amplifies the noise even that much more.
1st and 10 from the 46. Miller looks deep. Tipped, intercepted. Picked off by Danny Copeland at the 29. And he counter punches to the 47. One of 5 Plan B acquisitions who start defensively for the Washington Redskins.
This is Copeland's 2nd interception of the year. The protection is fantastic, but Miller's mistake here is he's trying to go deep to his outlet receiver, but look at all the Redskins around Pritchard. Collins gets his hand on the ball, the old tip drill. Copeland comes up with a big interception.
Redskins were plus 18 in regular season turnover ratio. They have a 1st down. Mark Rippon, the quarterback. Ernest Biner. And he doesn't get much. The yard, maybe a yard and a half. Robert Lyles with the tackle. Mark Rippon, Pro Bowl starter. 6'4", 234 from Washington State. Had a sensational year. And helped in no small measure by Lachey, McKenzie, Bostic, Schlereth, Jacoby, and Don Warren. They allowed only 9 sacks this year. Biner again. Sprints through across the 50 to the 46. Ernest Biner is also bound for the Pro Bowl this year. And the posse, Art Monk, Gary Clark, and Ricky Sanders. And the Redskins go with a no-huddle offense, Dan. Something they have used this year.
And been very effective with the no-huddle. Especially important against Atlanta that likes to use a lot of different defensive fronts. This will keep them off balance.
Mark Rippon said last night they put it in storage, he thought. Here's the pass deep for Clark, incomplete. He had gotten behind Scott Case.
I think we're going to see the effect of the wind on that ball. It got out of spiral on Rippon, and it appeared that Gary Clark just misjudged it at the last moment. The wind is swirling down on the field. It's going to be very difficult to throw the ball deep today.
Joe Gibbs' offense can't convert on 3rd down, and now Kelly Goodburn is on to punt. Keep in mind, Atlanta blocked 2 of Goodburn's punts in the 1st game. He's had 3 blocked this year. Sanders waits at the 12-yard line. Excellent coverage. Sidney Johnson makes the tackle. 10:48 to go. Scoreless first quarter. Fans away from RFK.
And the majority of the fans stand throughout the ball game. And today they'll be standing and hugging each other, trying to stay warm. The amazing thing with the weather as it is today, it's warmer now than it was in the first game 7 weeks ago when it was 39 degrees here in Washington.
Yeah, 50 degrees is downright balmy. Chris Miller off to a good start. Falcons with the ball for the second time at their own 15-yard line. No score. And he runs the draw to Tracy Johnson. And the Tractor gets 5 out to the 20-yard line.
Talked about Miller being off to that good start. Vern, I think that he's going to have to throw the ball today about 60 or 70 times. He's going to be effective. Without Rozier in the lineup, it's going to be tough for the Falcons to run against this defense of the Redskins.
And not that they have played here all that often, only 7 times, but the Atlanta Falcons have never won in RFK. They're zip for 7.
Well, the odds are in their favor then.
Pat Chafee checks into the backfield now, number 28. He is also a seldom used running back. But I would, he gets the handoff. It's Chafee. Across the 20 to the 22, that'll leave a need of about 3.5 for first down.
Glanville knows a little bit about Chafee's background. He's from Oregon State, and they play in the mud and the rain up there in Corvallis. But the job there of Gavea, starting at middle linebacker today for Matt Millen, shows his versatility. He's in there because he's a fine pass defender as well as a run stopper.
Monty Coleman, number 51, now in his 13th season. One of 4 men on the Redskin roster who have played in all 16 playoff games under Joe Gibbs. 3rd and 2. Miller, deep right side. Man coverage. Out of bounds. Michael Haynes, Darrell Green. We'll see the two of them shadowing each other all afternoon.
Yeah, and score one for Darrell Green, but also for the wind, as the wind sailed that ball out of bounds. But even if it had been inbounds, Green was all over Michael Haynes.
Scott Fulhag is on to punt for the Falcons, and Brian Mitchell is back to return it. Number 2 in the league at punt returns. He's brought a couple back to touchdowns this year. Downed immediately. Joe Fishback. In the wind and the rain at RFK Stadium, Joe Fishback tackles Brian Mitchell. The Redskins get it for the second time.
It's it, and that's that.
It's it, and that's that.
Nothing beats it. You want the bar across the street.
Of the National Football Conference Divisional Playoff is sponsored by Chevrolet, the heartbeat of America, the cars more people depend on. Your Allstate agent who wants to be your agent for life. You're in good hands with Allstate. And by Miller Lite, it's it, and that's that.
9:02 remaining first quarter. Redskins' second offensive set. They start this time from their own 33. Cross midfield after the Danny Copeland interception, but Rippon and Clark misfired on the deep passes. Third down. Here's the reverse to Art Monk. Tries to get outside Ken Tippins and can't. And Tippins, who is starting in place of Darian Connor for the Falcons, read that one nicely. Tippins, one of the 11 defenders. Up front, a very small defensive line. Brian Gardner and Tim Green. The linebackers, Lyles, Rady, Tuggle, and Tippins. And in the backfield is McKyer and Sanders, joined by Case and Jordan. And again, the Redskins go with the no-huddle offense. 2nd down and 12. Short setup. Gary Clark, first down. Jesse Tuggle with the tackle.
A score one for Gary Clark in his first battle against Deion Sanders out here on the outside. It's a hitch pattern, and Sanders is used to this sloppy field here at RFK, and Clark is used to it. Sanders is not, and a big first down for the Redskins.
And again, the no-huddle. Rippon saying last night he did not expect them to use much no-huddle offense today. First down and 10 at the 47. No score. Biner. Tippins. Gain of 3.
Redskins had all types of trouble 7 weeks ago trying to run the ball against the Falcons because the Falcons put 8 men up crowding the line of scrimmage. That left Rippon to throw for 442 yards, but he won't be able to do that today with this type of win.
442 and 6 touchdowns and charges by almost every Falcon we talked to that Joe Gibbs ran up the score on the Atlanta Falcons. They have tried to use that as a motivating force this week. Rippon goes deep, man open. Art Monk. His 50th catch in a playoff game. The 802nd of his career. First down.
Real good play selection by Joe Gibbs as he rolled Rippon away. The Falcons crossed them up a little bit by only rushing 3 men. Monk found the hole in an 8-man secondary.
You surprised they using no-huddle?
Not really, because Joe Gibbs feels that this is really a way to get the other team off balance and to be unpredictable in his own right.
Rippon settles short, incomplete, almost picked off. Intended for Biner.
You know, Rippon is one of the best long throwers in football, but if he has a flaw, it's how he delivers the short pass. That time he threw the ball behind Biner and too hard, and he's real lucky that wasn't intercepted by Robert Lyles.
Saw the total offense graphic. This is the 2nd time now the Redskins have been across the 50. First time this deep at the 30-yard line where they face a 2nd down and 10. 6:33 to go, first quarter, and we are scoreless. Don Warren starts in motion. Rippon waggled to the left. Good protection. And it is dropped after the hit by the secondary at the 25, intended for Gary Clark. 3rd down and 10.
This is a case of Rippon getting a little greedy here. He's got Ricky Sanders, 83, going to the corner, and Clark is open right now, but he doesn't take him. He takes him a little bit too late. Now watch all the black shirts that converge on the pass. Tough catch for Gary Clark in a crowd.
Art Monk goes left. He's matched up with Brian Jordan. Ricky Sanders comes into a wing on the right side, and Gary Clark is in a slot left. 3rd and 10. 3-man rush by the Falcons. Rippon again with time. Across the middle, caught at the 20, short of the first down. Now we see the ball is dropped. Intended for Monk. It'll be 4th down.
And the Falcons, Doug Shively, their defensive coordinator, is changing things up. Playing a lot more zone today, not as much man-to-man. A little worried about the field conditions, but also he remembers all those bombs that Rippon threw 7 weeks ago.
And Chip Lohmiller, the Pro Bowl place kicker, is on. Jeff Rutledge will hold. Lohmiller outscored by himself this year the Indianapolis Colts. Rutledge will hold, 47 yards to break the scoreless tie. Wide right. So the Falcons have held back the Redskin onslaught twice thus far. The 2 teams as well as the coaching staff. This is during the field goal, Dan.
Special teams coach Bobby April, and now Glanville. He's pushing it right. He's pushing it right. Yeah.
And in the meantime, Joe Gibbs.
Well, this wind is blowing between 30 and 39 miles an hour. Gibbs' worst nightmare as a coach is his kicker misses wide right.
1st and 10, Atlanta, scoreless game. Miller, good protection. side, caught by Michael Haynes. No catch. Michael Haynes, who electrified his teammates and quieted the New Orleans crowd last week. A 61-yard touchdown pass on a hitch pattern, a 7-yard out.
22 yards per catch is a fantastic number. Obviously, led the NFL. But he's the most dangerous man on the field, according to Joe Gibbs, because he gets down there in such a hurry, puts a lot of pressure on the defense. Brad Edwards, the weak safety, is going to be looking his way all day long.
2nd and 10. Slipped the ball to Tracy Johnson, and he plunges over right tackle across the 35 to the 36-yard line. Tackle is made by Monty Coleman. Again, Mike Rozier is on the inactive list.
And Johnson at 230 pounds, he'll get off the right side here behind Hinton, as Hinton just lets Mann run himself out of the play. And this is a fine 5-yard gain for the Falcons.
3rd and 5.
That's going to be a great battle all day long. Chris Hinton, the Pro Bowler, against Charles Mann, a Pro Bowler.
Atlanta 1 of 2 on 3rd down conversions so far. They were 6 of 10 last week in New Orleans. Quick flip to Rising, short of the 1st down. It'll be a punting situation. Now let's see what, yeah, they spotted just short of the 40. They might measure, but it appears short.
Rising had the 1st down if he just keeps going down the field. He stopped to make a move. His feet went out from underneath him, and he may have come up short.
Red Cashin is our referee today, the pride of Bryan, Texas.
Here's Rising. Watch as he grabs this ball on the quick look from Miller. If he just keeps going instead of planting that left foot, he would have got inside A.J. Johnson and easily picked up the 1st down. But this field is not going to hold up very long. It's been raining here a couple of days. They had the tarp on the field, and he came up short about 6 inches. Watch his left foot come out here to plant, to make a move. It leaves him, and he comes up about a half a foot short of the 1st down. Problem with this field is it's below sea level and does not drain all that well.
And that brings on Scott Fulhag. Darrell Green has gone back to return the punt, replacing Brian Mitchell. Green, called by Wayne Sevier the best punt return man he's ever coached. Wayne Sevier is the special teams coach of the Washington Redskins. So Darrell Green is back. Fulhag with protection. Nice high punt and a fair catch called by Green at the 13-yard line. Boy, that was a dandy punt.
I think he got it up in the jet stream is what he did.
That's right. Thing almost landed at National Airport. 48 yards, still scoreless. We remain scoreless, 4:45 remaining 1st quarter. Vern Lundquist and Dan Fouts at RFK Stadium. And Clark, Middleton, and Monk make a late entrance into the huddle, Dan.
And this is Gibbs' offense for when he's backed up against his own goal line. So far today, the posse has been in 8 of their 10 plays. Different personnel now, though.
They have 4 packages offensively that they will use. And here is Ricky Ervins, the rookie running back out of Southern California, who gets it out to the 19-yard line. A tackle made by Rick Bryan.
One thing about the obvious mismatch up front, the Hogs go about 290, whereas the 5 down linemen of the Falcons are only averaging about 260 pounds. And with this type of field condition, I believe that with Ervins and Biner and Gerald Riggs, that Washington should be effective on the ground.
2nd down and 4. They pick up 6 from Ricky Ervins. Monk in motion, followed by Sanders. Griffin, one hopper, incomplete for Gary Clark. It'll be 3rd down.
One thing Doug Shively told me earlier in the week is that normally you play the Redskins, you say, we got to stop the running game. But we did that in the 1st game, and they beat us by 39 points. Now his thinking is, we've got to stop that bomb. We've got to prevent that big play. We're going to play less man-to-man. Already in this first quarter, we've seen just a 3-man rush from the Falcons, and it's been very effective as Rippon has missed his last 4 passes.
Bobby Butler comes in defensively now on 3rd and 4. Don Moran lines up tight to the left. 3-man rush again, and they drop 8. The pass incomplete. Scott Case defending, no flag. Very important for Atlanta that Scott Case play well today.
The thing about Case, as the Redskins fail on their 3rd straight 3rd down conversion, is he is a former Pro Bowl cornerback. He has this ability, although he plays safety now, that's real close to being pass interference, but what we can't see is his left hand. Obviously, a perfect play by Scott Case.
Kelly Goodburn on to punt. Special teams so important today, and here's one of the best, Deion Sanders. Nice and high, and a fair catch that Sanders lets bounce over his head, but it digs into the wet turf and comes to a stop. Now Jerry Glanville, in his 2nd year as the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons, he thinks Joe Gibbs did run up the score. How did he phrase it? He said he tried to touch our spirit and kill our soul.
I'm not sure what all that means, but
well, it means Jerry's trying to be a cowboy poet.
He's trying to be exactly that, Vern, and he was very mad about that. It wasn't as though they were throwing the ball every down, but every time they threw it in the 4th quarter in that ball game, they did throw it deep.
Pat Chafee is in the backfield now. 3:47 to go. No score. Chafee gets the handoff. And doesn't get much.
Interesting thing about the playoffs this year, Vern, with 8 teams in the playoffs, all 3 teams that feature the run and shoot made the playoffs. Houston, Detroit, and here Atlanta. Although when you talk to Glanville and you say run and shoot, he kind of snarls a little bit. He really doesn't like that term. He likes that red gun because that's his name for it. But he was forced into the 4 wide receiver alignment because of injuries. He would love to have 2 tight ends and a big fullback in these weather conditions.
2nd down and 8. 3:05 to go first quarter. Miller, good protection. Deep for Pritchard, incomplete for 3rd down. But Jamie Dukes, the starting center for the Falcons, told us last night the best thing that happened to this team was when our tight ends got hurt.
I bet his teammates, those tight ends, really appreciate that type of thinking. But what it did is it forced Atlanta almost to go to their strength, because the strength of this team is not in how they run the ball. It's in these fleet receivers of Haynes, Pritchard, Dixon, Phillips, and Risen, and the mobility of Chris Miller to move around in the pocket and throw the ball. Miller can also be effective running the ball, as he led all NFL quarterbacks with a 7-yard rushing average.
3rd and 8. Incomplete for Risen. 4th down. Wilbur Marshall. And he's going to get in his face. Well, I promise you, Andre Rison did say something back.
And Wilbur with the big smile, you know, he got the best of it because he got the pass defense. He says, no way he can grab that one. Now Rison saying, hey, Chris, you threw that one a little hard, didn't you?
4th down again. This time Brian Mitchell is the deep man. Scott Fulhaig the punt. Again, a fine punt by Fulhaig. Mitchell dropped almost immediately. Looked like he was going to shake loose, ran into his own man. And then Elbert Shelley, the best of the special teamers on coverage, downfield to make the tackle.
One of the disadvantages coming into a ball game like this is the Redskins had last week off, whereas the Falcons had to play that tough game in New Orleans. Now, depending on who you talk to here, who has the advantage? Gibbs says, well, they do, obviously. They've been in the pressure cooker 2 weeks in a row now, and we're a little bit rusty. So far, both teams are off to very poor starts offensively, although their defenses are playing fantastic.
Ernest Biner is back in the lineup behind Mark Rippon. Play action. Rippon again with all day to throw the ball, but he has to throw it away because of the presence of Jesse Tuggle. Joe Gibbs said last night that he thought Jesse Tuggle was the best inside linebacker he had ever coached against.
And if Joe Gibbs had more than just one vote for middle linebacker in the Pro Bowl, he would have given them all to Jesse Tuggle. Led the league in tackles 2 years in a row.
Used the words fabulous and fantastic along with a ton of other adjectives. Second down and 10. Biner. 12-yard gain. First down. Case with the tackle.
For the Redskins to be effective, they're going to have to use this muscle up front and just run straight at the Falcons. Nothing fancy there. Biner, who's normally a cutback runner, just had a huge hole and could run straight for the first down.
Put the double team on Rick Bryan and knocked him out of the way. It's first and 10, no score. And this time they stopped the run. Biner, no gain, maybe 1 yard.
And that's the thing about this Falcon defense is they'll stop 2 or 3 runs because they like to bring linebackers up, plug all the holes, 8 men up. But then every once in a while, you'll pop one through, as Biner did it a couple plays back.
You know, Mark Rippon was talking about that defense, Dan. He said it looks kind of crazy, but there's a discipline to it, and it's not an uncoordinated defense at all. Here's Rippon, left side. Another first down for the Redskins. In front of Brian Jordan, it's Gary Clark with the catch.
Clark, knowing he's just shy of the first down, the key play on this is as he catches the ball, he'll pivot to the outside. Trouble's coming from the inside by Jordan, but the pivot to the outside immediately is what gives Clark the first down.
Final 65 seconds, quarter number 1, 30 to 39 mile-an-hour winds. Temperature not bad, 50 degrees. Final draw play.
That's an excellent call by Joe Gibbs on first down because the Falcons have been just rushing 3 guys. There's nothing easier to run in football than a draw play against just 3 men rushing the passer.
And the no huddle on second down. Clark comes near side. Monk will join him. And Ricky Sanders in tight to the left side. No score. Final 23 seconds, quarter number 1. Searches, nothing. Third down at the 50. Jesse Tuggle, Robert Lyles. Lyles, who nicknamed the Astrodome the House of Pain when he paid for Jerry Glanville and the Oilers. That's the end of the first quarter with our score. The Atlanta Falcons, nothing. The Washington Redskins, nothing.
But his footing goes away from him, and Tuggle's there for the tackle.
So we start quarter number 2 with a third down. No score. Ricky Sanders in motion, ripping back, a 3-man rush again. Across the middle, caught. First down, fumble. And they will rule down by contact at the 31, so the play will stand. John Rady defensively. Ricky Sanders, a 19-yard gain.
You see the change in the type of patterns the Redskins run. Now, this is a zone pattern because Gibbs is anticipating another zone defense by the Falcons. Clark is as good as anyone at catching the ball over the middle.
And it was Gary Clark with a catch, and Sanders popped on the ball. Ricky Ervins tests the middle, gets inside the 30 to the 27. Ken Tippins with the tackle.
Gibbs is lucky to have a couple of running backs that do well on muddy fields. Both are short guys, Biner and Ervins. Both have that low center of gravity, and Ervins told us yesterday, important for him to run wide. Well, at 5'7", 200 pounds, he doesn't have any choice.
He is wide. 600 yards, led all rookie running backs in the NFC. On second down, Rippon comes to his left. On a rope inside the 20 at the 19, another first down. Art,
Art Monk is going to the Hall of Fame, no doubt. And next year, in the beginning of the year, he'll pass Steve Largent as the all-time receiving leader in the NFL because of plays like that. Did you see at the end of the play as he came back down the sideline, find that open area?
Redskins' deepest penetration of the ball game. They did miss a 47-yard field goal. They have a 1st and 10 at the 19. No score. Ervins slips.
This is twice now the Redskins have tried to run that counter play with Donnie Warren, the leading blocker on it, but because of the field conditions, they're not going to have a lot of success doing it. Too slippery to make those sharp cuts needed to make those blocks.
Falcons hurry to make their defensive changes. Draw play. Ervins comes left. Touchdown, Washington. yards. And Lohmiller, perfect on extra points this year, 56 of 56. Gets his first in the playoffs.
It's a draw play by the Redskins. A fine call again by Joe Gibbs. Watch the pass rush, just 3 men. Key block by Lachey and also by Art Monk, and now a missed tackle by Eaton, and Ervins in for the score.
By McDonald's.
17 of those 60 Washington rushing yards came on the touchdown by Ricky Ervins. Lohmiller missed from 47 yards out, and the Redskins have a 7-0 lead as they kick off. Sanders at the 7. And he gets it out to the 27. We go back and take another look at the Ervins touchdown run.
Well, the Falcons are going to rush 3 men here, Vern. The key block is by Lachey on Scott Case. Watch as the tight end will turn out and let the man run up the field. And now Case is being asked to take on a man who outweighs him by 100 pounds in Jim Lachey. You talk about a mismatch.
It took 11 plays, 81 yards, 5:06 off the clock, 17 for Ricky Ervins, his first playoff touchdown in the NFL. Miller will throw on first down, goes left, catches Andre Rison, and no catch. He was out of bounds.
Watch on the right side of the screen as Miller on the half roll throws the ball on time, but Rison steps out of bounds with his right foot. Watch his right foot as he makes this catch. He knows trouble's coming in Andre Collins. He's got to be a little disappointed in his field awareness. He probably thought he had both feet down when he made the catch.
2nd and 10. 12:22 to go, first half of play. This is a Washington team that registered 3 shutouts at home this year. Tracy Johnson, big hole at left tackle. Mike Kinn leading the blocking charge, and Johnson's after the 36-yard line.
We'll take a look at Mike Kinn, number 78. Made All-Pro this year, but did not make the Pro Bowl. That's kind of hard to figure out. But the double team there, and then he comes off on the inside linebacker there, Coleman, and this is the best running play for the Falcons. Ken told me earlier in the week that this is his 14th year in the NFL. He's been in the playoffs 4 times. His message to his teammates, his younger teammates, cherish this moment. It doesn't happen every day.
3rd and 1. Pat Chafee. Fumble. Loose ball. Who got it? Washington.
Coming off this left side. Chafee has the first down here, but the ball is stripped away. Coleman will dive on this one with help from his friends. Second turnover of the day for the Redskins. Look at the big hole there that's plugged up by Coleman. Ball will come back right at him, the bottom of the pile. Jumpy Gathers as well on the play.
And Charles Mann with the strip, first down. Ernest Biner back at running back. First and 10, 7-0 Redskins have the lead. Biner down to the 32-yard line. There is Charles Mann. Coined the defensive unit the National Defense.
And I'm not sure that's going to really make it on the all-time nickname list. The problem with that name is that on offense, they've got the greatest nickname of all time in the Hogs, and now you've got a real depressing type of nickname, the National Defense.
Are you suggesting it's contrived? Second down. And that should move the change. Biner again into Tim Green, number 99.
You know, if I was Charles Mann, I would name it the Swine, maybe something nasty and dirty, and so that would go with the Hogs. You got the Hogs on one side, you got the Swine on the other side. But National Defense, come on, with the budget cuts and everything.
Yeah, but given a choice, that's a heck of a pick. You could be a hog or a swine.
Charles is a corporate man.
Yeah, is he ever? Well, they got the logos fixed. Here's Rippon. There's Sanders. And that's a first and goal. It was Sanders on Sanders that time. And Ricky beat Deion.
Donnie Warren gets away with a holding call here. That allowed Rippon the time to find the receiver down the field, and the Redskins are in business on the 2-yard line. So many weapons for Joe Gibbs and Mark Rippon. There's too many people for the Falcons to handle, at least so far.
First and goal. Gerald Riggs is in. 11 touchdowns this year. Make it, and even doesn't. The all-time rushing leader for the Atlanta Falcons scores for the Washington Redskins. Gerald Riggs.
6'1", 240, just too strong, too big, as he hits the secondary man. Case drives him into the end zone. And now watch after the touchdown. Riggs, who loses his helmet here, has it pulled off actually by Scott Case. He wants this spike to be felt all the way down south in Atlanta. You bet.
Lohmiller with the extra point. Well, Jerry Glanville's got a companion with him here, a singer named Jerry Jeff Walker. He penned a tune that seems appropriate for the Falcons. Up against the wall, redneck mother.
Because you believe these trucks shouldn't carry a spare tire.
High on the hog. This is you're a, I'm a, he's a, she's a, and they're a. They've got an answer for hammer.
Deion Sanders at the goal line. Deion Sanders at the 23. Well, of course, the divisional playoffs continue tomorrow on CBS. The Dallas Cowboys and the Detroit Lions. All starts at 3:30 Eastern Time, a rematch. The Cowboys lost to the Lions 34-10 in Game 1 at the Silverdome. And it'll start with the NFL today. Terry and Greg, nice and dry back in the studio. And Leslie and Pat, nice and dry indoors at the Silverdome tomorrow.
I think Leslie and Pat should make the All-Madden team for their work before this game.
Not Pat, Leslie.
For sure. Well,
Yeah.
Pat will be second team.
First and 10, 14-0. The Redskins lead it. Miller back. Miller may or may not be sacked. Did he get back to the line of scrimmage? Fred Stokes.
See the difference in the defensive philosophies. Shively and the Falcons rush 3. The Hogs, or rather the Swine, are going to bring 4 at Miller. And the fourth guy is going to get him. Fred Stokes stops Miller for about a half-a-yard loss.
Redskin defense outstanding at RFK. Mentioned a while ago they had 3 shutouts here. They started off with a 45-0 pasting of the Lions. Sanders on the opening game of the season. Second down. Pritchard is in motion. Little flip out to Pritchard. Picked it off his shoe tops, incomplete. And it'll be 3rd and 11.
Talking to defensive coordinator Richie Pettibone yesterday about the keys to the game, this is exactly what he wanted to see. He wants to swat Miller's head a few times, or at least have his big guys up front here. Tim Johnson gets in here this time. Although he doesn't sack Miller, he knocks him down and almost took out his left knee.
There's Richie Pettibone. Might be a candidate for one of the multitude of vacancies
He would
in the NFL.
Make a fantastic head coach. All the experience in the world and a fantastic player in his own right.
3rd and 11. Left side, intercepted. Martin Mayhew, 3rd turnover of the first half. He had 3 in regular season. He's got 1 in the playoffs.
3 straight pass plays for the Falcons, and 3 times great pressure by the Redskins defensive line. Watches Miller's back in the pocket, trying to get rid of this ball before the blitz from the outside by A.J. Johnson came in there and hit him low. Here's Johnson. Watch him come on the blitz here. Nobody to pick him up. Pegram's a little bit late, and again the quarterback gets hit, and the insult to that injury is the interception by Mayhew.
Second interception for Chris Miller. 1 picked off by Danny Copeland. 3 Atlanta turnovers. That one by Mayhew. Ricky Ervins, he's nailed behind the line at the 27-yard line.
This is 9 turnovers now in the last 2 games between these 2 teams. Glanville said that they had their spirit touched a little bit. Well, that soul's getting rocked right now.
The Falcons turned it over 6 times in losing here. Bobby Wilson getting a little medical attention. Rippon knocked away at the 12-yard line. No flag. Intended for Gary Clark. There's what Dan was talking about. 9 Atlanta turnovers in this spot.
6 in the last game, 3 each in each half. So it's 3 now for the Redskins, so they're right on pace.
3rd and 10. Sanders in motion. 3-man Atlanta rush. Into the flat for Ricky Ervins. Nice little juke step. And he's down to the 16. And that should be enough to move the chain. See where the spot is.
We talk about all the weapons that Rippon has to deal with. In this situation on 3rd down, this is why the Redskins led the NFL in 3rd down conversions, hitting over 50% of their attempts. They have so many guys you got to cover. Falcons went down back in a zone defense and left Ricky Ervins wide open. And he used that ability, that natural running back ability, to get close to this 1st down. And indeed, he picks it up. Here's Ervins right here, and he's just going to go out on a little stop pattern, and there's just nobody there to take him. It's a zone coverage, kind of out of character for the Falcons. It's something they felt they had to do to prevent the long bombs, and Ervins burns them.
1st and 10, 7:35 to go. First half of play. That running play again doesn't go. Ricky Ervins, Corey Epps, number 74, Rick Bryan, and Robert Lyles remains on the ground. So the medical staff of the Atlanta Falcons hustles onto the field. Not going well for Jerry Glanville and the Falcons. 14-0. Time has been called to 10 to Robert Lyles. In their first meeting here, Week 10, the Redskins did not run well, but they have found some yards up the middle today.
Especially with these field conditions and their size advantage. Although Tim Green doesn't want to be called a small defensive lineman at 245 pounds, that's exactly what he is. And the other defensive philosophy change for the Falcons, with only 3 down linemen and playing a lot of loose zone, that has really opened up the middle.
Robert Lyles with assistance, knee injury, being helped to the bench. Michael Reed will come in and take his place.
And the other part about rushing just 3 men is there hasn't been any pressure on Rippon. That's allowed him to get hot, hitting 5 of his last 6 passes. But one thing about the Falcons, there's no quit in them. They have been very successful coming from behind, especially at their late season rush.
14-0 the score, 7:14 the time remaining, and 2nd down and 10 for the Redskins. Ricky Ervins. Rippon will throw it. Goes right, picked off. There's a flag down, and the pass is lateral back from Jordan to Tim McKyer. Mark Rippon with a tackle. Now check the flag on the near side of the field. Brian Jordan with the interception. Motion call, Washington. Atlanta will keep the football.
Intercepted by illegal motion. There's a flat 55 on the offense. That penalty is declined. First down.
Well, the zone pays off this time for the Falcons defense, as Jordan, number 40, is going to run right out underneath this out pattern. We've seen the Skins be successful throwing twice to Gary Clark on that little hitch. That's a heck of a lateral there by Jordan.
Really?
Now McKyer is looking for Sanders. Can't find him anywhere. He should be looking to try and get extra yardage.
These guys ought to be a rugby team.
He let a quarterback tackle him. That's unbelievable. Now they're moving the ball back, saying that he was down by contact probably.
Last 5 possessions, 3 punts and 2 turnovers. Well, so much has been made about the last play in the wind down in New Orleans when McKyer intercepted a blind lateral back to Sanders, who then found Joe Fishback. Chris Miller said, yes, we asked him, what were you yelling? He was saying, get on the ground, get on the ground. He said, I included various expletives.
Yeah, you bet he did. Sure, there's some people that wish they had a gun or something to take one of their legs out to make sure that they wouldn't turn that one over.
Funny about that play, Dan. You talk to football people, and they were aghast, I guess is a good word. But you talk with fans around the country, they loved it.
The NFL has been criticized so much for a no-fun league. Well, the Falcons, they do one thing better than anybody, is they have more fun than any team I've ever seen.
Reason for the delay is they are checking with replay for the spot of the ball. That's what's at issue.
Well, we've gone a quarter and a half, and we haven't heard from anybody in the replay booth, so...
Mercifully.
Yeah, this is a pretty good deal for us.
Mark Rippon, who is 6'4" and weighs 235.
He's really going to drill McKyer here, too. He's hunting him out. Now he's got that head down, and he drives him back.
Grade him on the tackle.
100%. Beautiful.
How many did you make?
Tackles or interceptions?
No, tackles.
Too few to mention, buddy.
Mark is explaining it now to Jim Hannafin and Joe Gibbs. 1st and 10, Atlanta. They needed something like that to stop this Washington surge. 1st and 10, Rising in motion left. Intercepted. Picked off by Kurt Gouveia. So much for a momentum shift.
Again, the field comes into play, and the zone defense of the Redskins. Watch Miller come back, and he slipped. Once he slipped, his timing is thrown off, and that allows Gouveia to get back into his coverage and make the interception. Miller 1 out of his last 10 with 3 interceptions. Kicking the ground, you know that's what he's thinking about, throwing his timing off.
1st and 10, Washington, 6:49 remaining in the first half of play. coming in, the Falcons, despite their surge at 6 wins out of their last 7 games, 11-point underdogs. They had to play almost error-free football to win here for the first time ever. And what they've done is just the opposite. They've given up 4 times. And a player down for the Redskins at the 28.
This is Jim Lachey, my old teammate in San Diego. Number 79 here, as the Redskins are going to go with their trademark counter trade play for the first time today. Lachey behind McKenzie there, and a low hit there. Got him right around that right knee. Lachey did not play 7 weeks ago against the Falcons because of a knee injury. We hope this one obviously is not serious.
Jim Lachey going back to the Pro Bowl again. And looks like it's going to be okay.
Check out who gets this hit from the left side of the screen. Michael Reed, who's filling in for Robert Lyles. You can see the brace already on Lachey's knee. He has one on both knees, as do many offensive linemen.
Jim Lachey, whose business partner and former teammate at Ohio State, Mike Tomczak, is here in town. Jim was telling us last night that he and Tomczak went out for dinner. People kept talking about the Bears, and Mike said, hey, wait a minute. I now play for the Green Bay Packers. 6.5 to go. 14-0, Redskins up. Rippon, that had a wobble on it. Ed Simmons has checked in at left tackle and taken Jim Lachey's spot, one-time starter at the right side. And kind of modest numbers for Mark Rippon. 3rd down and long coming up. Rain has not subsided. They were expecting an inch or more this afternoon. And the wind is still ripping through the stadium.
We talked about Miller having experience playing in foul weather. Well, so is Mark Rippon playing at the Washington State University up there in Spokane. They can get real nasty up there.
3rd and 7. Rippon looks back to the left side. Finds Gary Clark, who is knocked backwards by Deion Sanders. And it'll be 4th down.
You know, I just moved the entire university 90 miles from Spokane.
Well, they do play some games at Spokane.
At Joe Albee Stadium, and before I get burned by all my Northwest buddies, I had to retract that one.
Matter of fact, before Mark Rippon got to Washington State, I did a game there in Spokane, California at Washington State, and the wind was clocked that day at 80 miles an hour. I saw a kid kick a 75-yard field goal in pregame warm-ups, and I also saw a kid punt one 40 yards behind his head.
Wow.
Lohmiller, no. And Glanville takes heart from that. Chip Lohmiller is 0 for 2.
And both times it's been out to the right, and Lohmiller is normally a hook kicker where he'll start it out to the right and it'll come back into the left. Not this time.
Might have thought he scored.
In 3 weeks, CBS Sports presents Super Bowl 20.
Madden Team 2.
In this win, 1st down and 10. Atlanta, despite 4 turnovers, still in the game, but they've got to get something going offensively. Miller with time goes left. Risen has it. Out of bounds, 1st down, an 11-yard gain.
Absolutely critical for the Falcons to get at least 3 points going in at halftime. You could say they've dodged a few bullets here. They've dodged cannonballs with 3 interceptions by Miller here in the 1st half.
How do they get it going, Dan?
Just doing what they normally do. The thing about Chris Miller, he's such a competitor, and in this offense, it allows the quarterback to compete because they've got to throw the ball to be successful. That's the only thing they have in their offense.
1st and 10. 5:02 to go, 1st half. Stunts by the Redskin defense, and Mike Pritchard makes the catch in front of Darrell Green, a gain of 5 yards.
And although it's only 5 yards, it's a completed pass. It builds Chris's confidence and it gives his team a feeling, hey, we're moving it, boys. It may be only 5 yards, but we are moving.
Well, if you go back to the reaction that we saw of Jerry Glanville on the Low Miller miss, obviously feeling like if they can get something going, they're hanging on by the hair on their chinny chin chin, but they're still in the ball game.
Speaking of hogs and swines, huh?
Right. Rain increases. Wind stays the same. They should put on leather helmets and call this game being played in 1932. Across the middle, wide open, Rising. First down, Atlanta at the 48. Big play for the Falcons. A gain of 16.
I think Lohmiller's miss of that field goal, Vern, deflated the Redskins a little bit. They're not getting the pressure on Miller as they did earlier.
Rick Bryan on the right. John Rady. How can we stop him? First and 10, Atlanta. They trail 14-0 with 3:34 remaining in the first half. Up the middle. Whoa! Wow! Jumpy Gathers put the forklift on him.
They call him the strongest man on the football team. Let's take a look at him. Number 97 from the left side of the screen. He's going to put out a big left arm, and Pegram is going to stop cold. Straight down on his back.
A couple of weeks ago, we were chatting with Charles Mann, the all-pro tackle, defensive end rather, for the Redskins. He said, don't put the cameras on me, guys. Put them on Jumpy Gathers. He's awesome. Acquired Plan B, New Orleans. Knee problem. Second down and 10. Miller looks deep. Settles short. Intercepted. Picked off by Darrell Green. A flag on the far side of the field. Green gets an assist from the official. And jumps out of bounds. Now we will check the infraction. Chris Miller is having an awful afternoon.
Where this was thrown, it may be against the Redskins.
On the far side of the field, away from the play.
It is.
Well, Wilbur Marshall got face-to-face with Andre Rison. He's not going to try it with Red Cashin.
That's Bob Wagner, the umpire, talking to Red.
And here's Red Cashin. Wow.
The Falcons like to live on the edge, but they're overdoing it a little bit here in the first half.
Pass interference by the defense. First down.
It's worth the price of admission to hear Red Cashin announce the first down.
There's no doubt, is there?
No.
That first down comes down all the way from Texas.
Bryan to D.C. Bryan, Texas is Red Cashin's hometown. First and 10. What a huge break for the Atlanta Falcons.
Now they have to take advantage of it again with just 2:28 to go in the first half.
Well, Miller's got to find the key here. He's been throwing to the white more than the black. Motion on the right side. Flag is down. Bring this one back. No play. Happened before the snap. And that'll cost the Falcons 5 yards.
And more than that, because the pass was complete, so it appeared to be a 10-yard gain. This is going to be a 15-yard penalty.
Number 75 of the offense before the ball was snapped. 5 yards, still first down.
Chris Hinton, who came along with Andre Rison to the Falcons for Jeff George. Last 9 games, only 6 in this half. 3, 1 wiped out by penalty.
And it's been a combination of things for Miller. Poor footing on one pass attempt, but he's been throwing into a zone coverage by the Redskins that appears to be confusing not only Chris, but his receivers. So many times their patterns are predicated on the reaction of the defense. Right now, they're a little bit out of sync.
1st and 15. Good blocking. Pritchard, screen pass. 3 men in front. Gets by Monty Coleman. Gets by another man and is down at the 33-yard line, a gain of 17.
This is a fantastic call by June Jones, the coordinator for the Falcons. The screen pass to the wide receiver. Watch the convoy now. He's got Freilich and big Jamie Dukes out there. The Falcons have got some beef up front as well.
We have reached the 2-minute warning at RFK Stadium. Washington leads 14-0, but the Falcons... Put yourself in Chris Miller's spot. You haven't played well. How do you get out of throwing these interceptions?
Well, fortunately, I've been in Chris Miller's spot. I've thrown a lot of interceptions. And the thing that Coryell would always tell me, Vern, is that, hey, keep throwing. We're going to throw it 30 or 40 more times. You got no choice but to get out of it yourself.
Critical possession for the Atlanta Falcons. They trail by 2 touchdowns. They do have a 1st and 10. Miller drills it. Caught. George Thomas makes the catch. That's a gain of 16.
That's a great thing about this type of offense, Vern, is that you have to throw the ball. They don't do anything else. With the personnel that they have, the strength of their team that we talked about is number 12 and the wide receivers. And with June Jones, the offensive coordinator, you really got to take your hat off to him, because he's one of those guys that believed in the run and shoot, along with Miles Davis up there at Portland State. Before Neil Lomax got there, June was a very successful quarterback in the run and shoot. There he is with the glasses in the middle of our screen. And with all these vacancies in the NFL, as there are for the head coaching position, here's a guy that ought to get a shot as well.
June Jones, who was in Detroit.
Somewhere, Miles Davis is sitting there watching this game with a big smile on his face, because 3 of the 8 teams in the NFL playoffs this year are running his offense, the run and shoot.
1st and 10. Falcons have 2 timeouts remaining. They trail by 14. 1:50 to go. First half. Chris Miller, by the way, is 5 of 5 on this drive. And, of course, had an interception overturned by penalty. Make it 6 of 6. Rising. It's Floyd Dixon, 86 instead of number 80. So Dixon gets the Falcons inside the 10.
That offensive line has given Miller a lot of time to throw, and he's throwing smart now. He's throwing the short passes and letting his receivers run.
Rising spot left. Miller into the end zone. Caught but out of bounds. Andre Rising.
Ball thrown just a little bit late for Rising as he caught it out of bounds. But they say that they're too legit to quit, and I think we're seeing a pretty good example of that. Miller fighting back along with his team. This team believes that no matter what the odds are, no matter what the score, is they're never out of it.
They were down by 10 in the first quarter of New Orleans last week. Chris Miller said, there will never be a place louder than the Superdome last weekend. And Miller has to call timeout.
And last week was last year, Vern.
That's right. I knew I had it right.
Miller saw the play clock run down to just 2 seconds, and they have to do so much moving in this offense that he didn't have enough time to get the playoff. Wisely used their second timeout.
What do you like now on 3rd and 2 at the 10-yard line?
Well, number one, you got to figure, will Glanville go for it on 4th down if they're not successful? Being the gambler that he is, it wouldn't surprise me if he doesn't go for it on 4th down. But I'd like to see some type of draw play, maybe to the left side behind Mike Ken, to at least get them in field goal position to give Glanville that option.
Well, somehow, if they can get something on the board, Jerry Glanville's team in it. And that despite 3 turnovers, 3 pass interceptions, a lost fumble, another interception that was negated by penalty, a couple of missed field goals by Low Miller of the Redskins. And the Atlanta Falcons trying to climb back into this ball game. 3rd and 2. And the crowd noise starts to build. Johnson, 1st and goal at the 2-yard line.
They hit the left side, but with a quick opener behind Duke 64 and Houston Hoover. Fine job by Freilich coming over on Marshall. That's a big gain for the Falcons. That puts them right on the doorstep.
And Washington has chosen to use one of its allotment of 3. So that stops the clock with 1:03 remaining first half. Dockers halftime report coming up at the conclusion of the first half. Greg and Terry and John Robinson back in our studio. They'll analyze the first half from their warmth and safety. And we'll have a Dallas-Detroit report for you. Richie Pettibone, defensive coordinator, Washington Redskins. 14-0.
The surprising thing for the Falcons offense, aside from how poorly they performed prior to this drive, is that on the ground they're averaging over 4 yards a carry. And Tracy Johnson has really fit in quite well at the lone running back. He's got 5 carries for 30 yards.
And had only 9 carries all season long. 1:03 to go first half. 1 timeout left. Jamie Dukes over the ball for the Falcons. Right side, touchdown Atlanta. That is Tracy Johnson's first touchdown this season. And the big play in this 11-play drive was a pass interference call against the Redskins that negated an interception.
Fine job by Pritchard there to occupy man just long enough for Johnson to stretch across the goal line. A lot of pride on that offensive line by the Falcons. You saw Hinton there and Freilich pushing their men away, allowing Johnson to get in for the score.
When they had to, they did it. 80 yards, 11 plays.
And guess who's looking at this one, Vern? The men upstairs, seeing where his knee touched in relationship to where the ball was.
Well, the play is ruled as a touchdown. It's being reviewed by instant replay.
I'd say give it to him.
I'd say give it to him, but I wouldn't be surprised if they don't.
Cal Lepore is the replay official upstairs.
This has been such a smooth flowing ball game, and now we have this interruption on a touchdown. Really cuts into the flow of the football game.
Do you think it'll be voted back next year?
Take a look from the rear here, Vern. Watch his left knee and right knee there. But the problem with that angle is where's the ball? He didn't stretch until he was all the way down, so they might reverse this one.
Every year it seems we hear that replay will be voted out, and every year there's some arm twisting at the league owners' meetings, and it gets put back in.
Let's take a look at it and maybe stop it when his knee goes down, and we'll see where the ball is. His knee is down right now, and the ball is short of the goal line. They're going to have to reverse this one.
Now let's see if they do. Yep.
Following a review by the replay official, we have a reversal. The ball will be placed on the 1-foot line.
Now we'll see just how the Falcons handle that interruption in their momentum. I don't think it'll bother them. I think they'll punch this one in.
Well, they've got exactly a minute left. And they do have one timeout left. So the ball placed on the 1-foot line. Johnson's knee ruled to a touchdown before the ball crossed the plane. Try it again. Touchdown. He went over Freilich and Hinton just as he had done before.
Exact same play. Glanville told us they only have 4 or 5 running plays in their entire offense. Watch him hit this right side. From the right side of the screen, Brad Edwards is going to come up with a big hit there. And Gavea. Edwards just a little bit late. Watch 54 and 27, but 43 in the black shirt is in across the goal line for the score.
Norm Johnson is on to try the extra point that would cut the lead in half. Scott Bullhaig will hold it. High snap. Kick is good. And somehow, when they absolutely had to, the Atlanta Falcons go 80 yards in 12 plays and slice the lead in half.
Ever wonder why your face hurts after you shave? It's simple. When you shave, you lose face because you strip away the moisture that's there to protect it, and that hurts. But now you can start saving face with new conditioning hydrogel from Allspice. Used every day, it adds moisture and keeps it there to help defend against the assault of shaving, so your face feels and stays that way. So why lose face? Use new conditioning hydrogel and start saving face.
It's getting a little nastier. 14-7. Washington leads it. Wilbur Marshall chatting with the officials during the timeout. Wishing each other Happy New Year, no doubt. The wind still gusting 30 to 39 miles an hour. And the rain has not subsided this afternoon.
That was a heck of a drive for the Falcons. They were aided, of course, by that pass interference call. But still, Chris Miller fighting back from disastrous first and second quarter, hit 6 out of 7 on that drive for 72 yards.
Tracy Johnson got it the second time after the replay officials had reversed the play. And now Norm Johnson will kick it off.
Not a lot of teams will drive 80 yards on the Redskins, and not a lot of teams can drive 80 yards against the Redskins here at RFK and in these conditions.
14-7 with 57 seconds to go in the first half of play. Very short, taken by Brian Mitchell. And hauled down by Tracy Johnson, who scored the touchdown, but because of the short kick, the ball is going to be spotted at the 36-yard line. Well, the Falcons have ducked in this duck-like weather most of the afternoon. They've had 4 turnovers, but Lohmiller has missed 2 field goals. They had 1 interception called back because of the pass interference call. And then they go 80 yards into the wind and get a touchdown just before halftime.
I'm not sure I like that call on that short kickoff here, because Lohmiller has one of the strongest legs in the NFL, although he's been wide right twice today.
52 seconds, and the Redskins have a couple of timeouts left. Rippon, screen pass, left side to Bynum, 2 men in front. McKenzie leads the way, and so does Bostic. And Bynum out of bounds to kill the clock at the 48-yard line.
Heads-up call again by Gibbs, but a real heads-up play by Bynum, getting as much as he can, using his interference, and then stepping out of bounds, saving those 2 timeouts.
First and 10. Mark Rippon, 9 of 19 for 126. Intercepted one time. Three-man rush, drop 8. Ervins gets by Brian Jordan, but then runs into Jesse Tuggle. And we'll see if they use a timeout now. They have done so. So one timeout remaining for the Washington Redskins. They have a 14-7 lead, 35 seconds to go first half. And they are at midfield. Don't forget Greg and Terry and John Robinson back in our studio at halftime. Look forward to tomorrow's game, Dallas and Detroit. What a dandy that ought to be. Of course, if the Redskins do hold on and win here, they will be at home next week. That's the reason you play all season long, to get that home field advantage. Jerry Glanville's team trying to win here for the first time in the 25-year history of the Atlanta Falcons.
Talked about how strong Lohmiller's leg is. This year he's hit a 53-yarder. His career best is a 56-yarder. But to get him comfortable around that 45-yard range, the Redskins need to move the ball about 21 more yards.
Well, he hit that 53-yarder and then came back in the same quarter to hit a 52-yarder. That was the Monday night game in Dallas. 2 of plus 50 in the same quarter for Chip Lohmiller.
Playing in good weather on AstroTurf, a little different than what he's facing today.
I don't think Tom Dempsey's record is in jeopardy today. That's 63 yards years ago, when both Dan and I were young. Ervins. Oh, boy! First down at the 37. And it looks like Lohmiller will get a chance.
Now Rippon should kill this clock right now and get another play.
Nope. Clark. Deion Sanders, fine defensive job.
That play there may have saved the Falcons 3 points. Watch this job of Sanders coming over with the finesse move of the left hand, just knocking the ball away at the last moment. That's why he's all pro. Just deflected it enough to keep Clark from making the grab.
With 12 seconds left, the officials have stopped play for the moment. They've got a problem with the chain on the far side. Got a knot in the chain. Hate when that happens.
The Gremlins are down there playing with the chain.
You got wind and rain and knot in your chain. Not a pleasant triumvirate. Second down. 12 seconds to go. Rippon, Ervins. 5 seconds remaining, and Lohmiller will come on. Tackle is made by Brian Jordan. Clock is stopped. Final timeout. 5 seconds to go. And Chip Lohmiller, who is 0 of 2 today.
Talk about Gary Clark's ability to catch the ball over the middle, but this is why he is regarded as the toughest receiver in football. Watch after the catch by Ervins. Clark goes in and makes a key block on Tuggle, and that gives Ervins a hole to get down the field 5 more yards. That could mean the world of difference for Lohmiller right now.
44 yards will be the attempt. And now there's another stoppage of play. I think they're going to dry the ball off or get a new one. Not surprising Glanville didn't care for that act of kindness and human charity.
He will have his say in this forum or any others.
44 yards. Oh, 0 for 3. The Falcons are going to go in and listen to some hammer music. They're in it.
They're going to turn it up.
It's 14-7. The Redskins at halftime. That's the end of the first half with our score 14-7 Washington.